Everybody, and thank you for being here. As Congressman Sherman said, my name is Jesse Gabriel. I am the newest member of the California legislature. I represent the 45th Assembly District, which does not include Porter Ranch, but includes a lot of the communities here in the Northwest San Fernando Valley that were most directly and significantly impacted by the Aliso Canyon blowout. I wanted to start just by thanking and acknowledging Congressman Sherman and Senator Stern for their leadership on these issues. As a father of young children in the Valley, as an environmentalist and somebody who cares about our community, as a homeowner in the Valley, I'm deeply grateful for the leadership that you have shown, along with Senator Hertzberg, for confronting these issues, for being on the front lines of it, and for really standing up for our community. So I think we owe them a big round of applause for everything that they've done. I want to broadly associate myself with their comments. I think that Senator Stern and Congressman Sherman expressed a lot of what I would like to express, but I just wanted to make a few little points. So the first is a little piece of context, and that is that there are some good parts to this settlement agreement, and that what Senator Stern and I are trying to do is not meant to be an attack on the Attorney General, on the City Attorney, on the other folks who worked on this. I was an attorney in private practice before I went to the legislature. I worked very closely with our Attorney General's office on a lawsuit against the Trump administration. It went up to the Supreme Court. They are fine public servants. They are people that care a lot and want to do the right thing. And what we have with them is a little bit of a disagreement about this proposed settlement. We think that there's a fundamental flaw, that there is a missing piece. And I think to folks here in the Valley, that missing piece is obvious. And so we believe that fundamentally that justice and fairness and equity require that we amend this settlement agreement, that we make sure that more of the benefits of this agreement come to folks here in the Valley, in our community, in this community, who are most directly impacted by the Aliso Canyon blowout. And so what we are going to do in connection with our partners at the federal level and at the local level is to really fight as hard as we can to change the terms of this settlement agreement, to make sure that it's modified, to use our relationships and our legislative power and the conversations that we can have to make sure that folks here in the Valley get the justice and the fairness that we deserve. That's what we are going to do. I just want to say I'm going to introduce my colleague, Senator Hertzberg here, who's a very accomplished legislator. But before I do, I want to say I look at this a lot through the eyes of a young father. I'm very blessed to have two very young kids. And in a lot of conversations that I had with folks as I've been going around this community, aside from the significant economic impacts that folks face from this and the inconvenience and everything else, all of the negative consequences that folks were forced to bear, the conversations that have pained me the most are the ones with parents who really have questions about what is this going to mean for my kids? And what is it going to mean for my kids in the long run? And what is this going to mean for my kids 20 years from now and 15 years from now? And so I believe as a young father, look, it's good that we have a health study, but we've got to get a lot more of that money back down here in the Valley immediately so that we can have environmental remediation immediately and this community can sleep better at night, because that is what we deserve. I'm looking forward to partnering with this great community, with Congressman Sherman and Senator Stern and Senator Hertzberg. We're going to fight hard for this community, and it's my pleasure to introduce a very accomplished legislator, Senator Hertzberg.
The arguments have been made. I am here today to tell you that I join in this wall of state legislators that we will not bend. That the San Fernando Valley, in so many occasions that so many of us know over the years, has always received the short end of the stick. We have 2 million people represented here, and he's going to carry the weight on his back, our new legislator over here with our partner and Brad Sherman from Congress, to not bend, to make sure that the deal is modified, to make sure that the resources are brought to the San Fernando Valley, to make sure that the community is protected. That's all. That's the message. That's why I stand here. Nothing further. Next case out.
It is rare you get a politician with that level of efficiency, but when Senator Hertzberg says it, he means it, and he's the chair of the Resources and Water Committee at the state level, which oversees jurisdictionally everything that happens underground. So we're counting on his partnership, this Valley partnership, but we really couldn't do it without the community. We work for the people here. We work for you, and so it's my honor to bring up somebody who has moved through this crisis with a grace and an expertise that I think is rare at a volunteer level. But Isam Najm, who is now the president of the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council, has a depth of knowledge as an engineer himself of what's actually going on here, but also a poise about him that I think has made him a very credible counterparty in these negotiations. So we appreciate you being here. Please say a few words, if you would.
Thank you, and I do have a few words to say. Congressman Sherman, Senator Stern, Assemblymember Gabriel, and Senator Hertzberg. On behalf of the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council, I want to thank you for being here today and for all the work that you do on behalf of our community and for your continued work in supporting us. The Neighborhood Council is working on specific and detailed set of comments that we will be submitting to the California Air Resources Board by September 12th. While we are encouraged by the fact that a meaningful health study will be funded and a fence line monitoring system will be in place, we do have many unanswered questions about how these programs will be managed and implemented. But we are also disappointed that the agreement lacks any vision towards reducing the need for natural gas in the LA Basin. If CARB is genuinely interested in implementing the governor's directive to close this facility down by 2027, we would like to know why this settlement lacks any measures towards that end. We would also like to remind CARB that the 109,000 metric tons of gas that they plan on capturing from dairy operations in the Central Valley over the span of 10 years were actually released into our community over a short period of 4 months. Yet the agreement lacks any effort for environmental mitigation right here in the San Fernando Valley. And by the way, this facility behind us leaks the same amount of methane every day as any of the dairy operations that are listed in the settlement agreement. Think about that. This is the equivalent of a dairy operation right here.
Right behind us.
So let me close by saying that the Neighborhood Council will continue to work diligently on behalf of our community. But our course is clear and our cause is just. There is no conclusion to this debacle other than the removal of this menace from our community. And the Neighborhood Council will continue to work with the state, county, and city on achieving the goal of permanently closing down this facility. Thank you.